lepers which stood afar off. And they lifted up their voices and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. And when he saw them, he said unto them, Go, show yourselves unto the priest. And it came to pass that as they went, they were cleansed. Oh, come on, tell somebody else, one thank you is not enough. Now, if you believe it, jump up and give the Lord some praise. One thank you. Hey! One thank you is not enough. Oh! These men who had the misfortune of contracting one of the deadliest diseases in the Bible. I don't know if you know anything about leprosy, but leprosy was a terrible disorder to have. The victim looked bad. He smelt bad. He felt bad. There was something about leprosy that rendered its victim unclean. This disease was so terrible that they were not allowed to function with other people. They couldn't live in their homes. They couldn't go to church. They couldn't go to the market. They couldn't go to temple. They couldn't sit on a pew. The only thing lepers could do was hang with folk that had leprosy just like them. If you go under the old covenant and read the laws of leprosy, when it was thought that they had this disease, they would have to go to the priest who would determine if the leprosy was there. And then once they were cleansed, they had to go back to the priest who would determine if the leprosy was gone, and he would issue them a clean bill of health. These people had to live in what was called a leper colony, and when anybody came within 50 yards of them, they had to yell, unclean, unclean. Yell unclean because leprosy was contagious, and if you touched anything that the leper touched, you were considered unclean. If you sat where the leper sat, you were considered unclean. So it was a terrible, terrible disorder to have. The Bible said that their skin would break up into scabs, and they would begin to ooze, and pus would come out of their body, and they would have scales, and they would look like either they had an acute case of psoriasis or dermatitis or skin cancer, but leprosy wasn't nothing nice to have. So in the text tonight, we had 10 men who had been hanging out in the same agony, 10 men who had suffered the same plight, 10 men who had the same disorder, and they knew that they couldn't get to where Jesus was, but they heard that Jesus was a healer. Oh, they heard that Jesus was in town. They heard that there was somebody that could do something about their dilemma. In a minute, baby. Oh, they heard there was somebody that could do something about their situation, because leprosy was uncurable. And if Jesus didn't heal you, and if God didn't stretch out his hand, that's the plight that you would be in for the rest of your life. So somebody told them about somebody that was in town that could do something about their dilemma. When they saw him, the word said they stood afar off and yelled, Jesus, thou son of David, have mercy on us. They had to yell, because if you know anything about leprosy at all, not only did it attack you from the external, but leprosy attacked you on the inside, so that it will attach itself to your vocal cords and to your larynx, and lepers always sounded like they had laryngitis, and when they saw Jesus, they had to yell, Jesus, thou son of David, have mercy on us. Oh, but when God heard the voice, it was an unmistakable sound. When he looked at them, it was an unmistakable look. The stench of leprosy was all around, and the Lord knew, according to the law, that he couldn't lay hands on them, and so he just looked at them and said, Go, show yourself to the priest.